Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to a weekly gaming news show, the podcast where two seasoned console gaming veterans talk about the trending news in gaming. My name is Trenell. We are your hosts with the most. And if you don't know me by now, my name is Trenell. I go by the name True Sonic, and I'm here as always with the homeboy Boogie. What's going on, man?
What's going on? If you're unfamiliar, Boogie is short for up jump the boogie to the rhythm the beat.
Yeah, there we go. So, episode 89. I feel like we've been in the 80s for like ever. So it's going to feel really good to hit that 9-0.
Hit that 90?
Yeah, hit that 9-0 next week. But I want to welcome you all to the show. Shout out to New Challenger TV, who just wrapped up their third weekly tournament. Shouts out to those guys. I didn't get to catch it this week, but I will be catching it next week, and I will be participating probably in the week after that. So look out, my boys. But yeah, they just hosted us for over 25 viewers. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate you. We'll be talking a little bit more about New Challenger TV here later on in the podcast. But with that said, let's go ahead and get started with our weekly icebreaker. If you don't know what that is, we're here to teach you. Okay, we're here to inform you guys. The weekly icebreaker is just a question that we like to ask between the two of us to get a sense of where we are on certain gaming related topics. Sometimes we like to go off the cuff. We do talk about, like pop culture, like comic books, movies, stuff like that. We'll do that, every once in a while. But this time I'm going to keep it gaming centric. And if you ever want to submit a weekly icebreaker question to us, you can do so by using the hashtag AskAWGNS. You can hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Facebook. Use the hashtag because we do monitor it, and you can get your question answered at the beginning of the podcast. This week's question, though, comes from our good friend and fellow monster hunter, O, who just celebrated his birthday the other day. So happy birthday to O. Want to make sure we get that out there. But yeah, this question comes from him. So Boogie, why don't you go ahead and take the weekly icebreaker? What we got?
The icebreaker goes, what popular franchise do you like that can easily change genre?
Okay, and then when he asked me this question, he made a very specific point about it. When he was talking about like in the realm of RPGs, like with the new Final Fantasy VII remake coming out, like will Final Fantasy VII be able to transcend genre? Because it's definitely changing. It's changing from like a traditional JRPG
to like an action RPG
over to a Western style action RPG. So is there any popular franchise that can do that the way that Final Fantasy is trying to do that coming up?
I know they tried it with Halo, right? They moved Halo from first person shooter to RTS.
Did you ever get to play that game?
I've never played it. I actually was invited like a couple of times to like alpha and a beta because I'm in the insiders program. I didn't try it because I had no interest, to be quite honest. Shooters can be shooters, right? I don't know. I think if anything, something like XCOM maybe can go from the turn-based strategy game. It can transition to the third person or to a dedicated shooter. I know they tried it one time before. It didn't go over well. But the way the game plays and the way the story works, I can see that becoming a shooter.
Okay.
That would be, and I think if they got the right people behind it, it can become a good shooter, either third person cover or even first person shooter.
Right.
Another game I would think Mass Effect could stand. It could transition. It could stand for a change outside of the shooter RPG to something a little more traditional when you come to RPG.
Yeah, maybe that might be the change that they need going forward, because they've definitely hit a very low mark as far as we're concerned. One genre of gaming that has always been able to transcend has been the platform genre. Yeah. There's been platformers or platforming like gaming characters that have been in all types of games, from racing to sports. So like that was the first thing that came to mind with me was like, just take your favorite platformer that still has a game in 2019, and he probably has games outside of that genre When you go with like Mario, he has like the sports franchise, the tennis, golf, basketball, soccer, baseball, and then you have the kart racing.
Yep. Then you got the fighting with the Smash Brothers.
Fighter, Smash Brothers. Yeah, so there's a lot that could be done with platformers outside of that genre, because you can always kind of like harp back to the original gameplay style. Like how like Mario plays like Mario does in a Mario game, but it's a fighting game. Like he has all of his signature techniques and stuff like that. So I think that's a really cool franchise or model of gaming that transcends its original genre. I think that's a really good way to compare. You can tell that I'm old because I'm the only one that's still talking about platformers in 2018. I love them, man. It's like one of my favorite genres to this day. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. The weekly icebreaker. We do this every single week at the top of the podcast. So if you want to get your questions answered, definitely hit us up on Twitter. We are at AWGamingNS. So just like let us know and use the hashtag AskAWGNS and we'll answer your questions. But now we can go ahead and move over to the next segment of the podcast. That's going to be the quick hits. And these are short little lightning round stories that don't necessarily deserve a deep dive, but there are stories that interested us and we think that will interest you as well, so we definitely want to talk about them. So Boogie, why don't you go ahead and take us into the first quick hit? We got first.
Well, we talked about this I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was a leak in a retail shop about Burnout Paradise Remastered coming out for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It has been confirmed that there is an Burnout Paradise HD Remaster coming out for both Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. There's no Nintendo version in the works as far as I can tell. The Switch version, I should say.
Right.
I'm sorry, I said PC, not PC. PS4 Pro and Xbox One. I mean PS4 and Xbox One. I'm not sure about PC.
Does it say?
Let me walk back. Yeah, I didn't see anything saying it wasn't. I didn't see anything that it was.
Nope. Yeah, just PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Yeah. That's what it's currently announced for right now.
Right.
It'll be upscaled for the 4K version. So so it's technically two different versions of the game.
Right.
So you have the OG system and then the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro.
Right. So it's coming with all the DLC from the original Burnout Paradise. It's going to be $40, so it's not a full price game. It's $39.99. And like, as Trenell just said, it's going to be enhanced for the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's not native 4K on either system, but it will run at 4K 60 frames per second, and it's going to be running at 1080p on both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. This was probably when I stopped playing. Well, yeah, it was when I stopped playing Burnout, and I believe this was the last Burnout game that the original developer Criterion is the last one that they worked on. So I wasn't the biggest. I don't know why that's happening. I wasn't the biggest fan of it initially, just because I'm more of like a linear kind of guy. Like I really like picking a track, picking my favorite car and trying to get my best time. Right. That's kind of what Burnout was all about. It's all about like high scores and super ridiculous crash sequences.
Right.
And making it an open world kind of took a lot of that away from it, in my opinion. I didn't really enjoy having to drive over to a certain point on the map in order to start a certain circuit. And if I, didn't have a friend that was in the lobby, I had to join the lobby. There's a bunch of mess that I didn't think a straightforward, like arcadey style racer needed. So wasn't really my cup of tea.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and this is like the beginning of the open world racers. Because after that, where you had the Forza Horizon came after that. Sony came out with an open world GT. Need for Speed went to the open world model. So I mean, it just started a trend. It's like the original. Like you said, I enjoyed two things with Burnout, with all of the Burnouts, including Burnout Paradise, is the dynamic accidents. And I like the silly cars they put in there, like that. And you saw
they didn't have no name brands.
Yeah, they had no name brands, but they had stuff. They had the Ecto, they had Ecto 1 in there. They had a DeLorean in there.
And the DLC,
they had some cool stuff in there. So it's fun.
That's what I primarily liked about Burnout. That wasn't present in a lot of other like racing sim type games. Was that you could just pick it up and play. It was easy to just jump into. Making it an open world game, in my opinion, kind of took away some of that like easy accessibility. But with the HD remaster coming out, I don't know. Maybe I'll be more inclined to pick it up. I'll definitely see less unwarranted BS because it won't have the hopefully it doesn't have the camera feature enabled, because on the original on the 360 you had the Xbox camera, and every time you crash somebody it would take a screenshot or take a picture of you and then like plaster that on like a license plate or like a driver's license or something, like, oh, you got wrecked by this person. Lots of penises, my boy. Lots of penises on Burnout Paradise.
That's just the Xbox camera.
Yeah, that was early Xbox camera.
I think people
days.
just like strapped it on a bar above their crotch while they were playing or something.
I don't know what was going on.
Silly.
But early Xbox 360 camera days that was the Wild West, my boy. Because who you going to report to?
Yeah,
it was so funny.
Just real quick, there was a rumor out there that there was going to be microtransactions.
Yeah.
EA's come out and said, no, there's no microtransaction. That listing was a mistake. I don't believe EA, so I have to wait and see.
Dude, I mean, if it's coming with all the DLC, I'm not sure what microtransactions that could possibly be. I mean, I don't really feel that EA is the type of person that will make a remaster that includes all the previous stuff and then still add stuff to it. Like, I don't think that's ever been done. I don't believe.
No, I've not seen it, but I still don't trust it.
Yeah, but you never know, man. You freaking never know. You want that specific color, because this was still in the time of gaming where you had to unlock stuff. You had to play the game,
unlock,
you after you got a certain amount of races in, you unlock stuff. Maybe you want to unlock it a little faster. Maybe you give EA $2.99. I don't know. You never know these days, but we'll be looking into it. I remember when this became a backwards compatible game on Xbox One. So I mean, I still have the original. I don't see any reason to get this, honestly.
Well, I hear you.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next quick hit. Sonic the Hedgehog
is back. This is all you.
I mean, it would be, but lately, me and Sonic haven't been seeing eye to eye. Sonic Forces was devastatingly bad, in my opinion. But news broke this week that the movie, which was originally slated to be under the production of Sony Pictures, will be coming out in November 2019 under Columbia Pictures?
I thought it was Paramount.
Paramount Pictures. Yeah, my bad. So the Sega partnered with Paramount Pictures, and the movie will be hitting theaters, supposedly hitting theaters November 15th, 2019. And that is right around the B-Day. So I'm gonna do my very best to sneak out of the house and see that. I'm gonna wear a mask so nobody recognizes me.
Yo, wear a mask.
I'm gonna wear a mask with my Sonic hat like on top of the mask. But it was weird because when we first got word, it was supposedly being done under Sony, but more news has come out, and something that I really don't care for is that the game is going to be one of those HD like CG real like live action hybrids. It's going to be a hybrid movie.
Yeah, so Sonic is going to be CG running around with real characters,
running around with Patrick. Neil Patrick Harris. Yep, there we go.
Yep. I don't necessarily like that either. Because basically what typically that is like, oh, look at this video game character fell into the real world and he's still a character.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Neil Patrick Harris is funny, at least.
He is funny. He's been in a lot of these hybrid movies, so I would be surprised if they casted him for somebody. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. With all the it's actually a film animation studio that does the cutscenes for a lot of the Sonic games, so they're not complete strangers to high quality CGI production. Right. So we'll have to wait and see. My thing is is the story compelling? Probably won't be. It's probably gonna be something for the kiddies. But we'll see. You'll get my official review once it comes out.
I will say this: it's better that they went with Paramount than they went with Sony, because Sony makes a bunch of stinkers. One out of let me take that back. 7 out of 10 Sony movies are shit.
Damn.
I'm sorry. The truth is the truth.
Hey man, you ain't gonna get no disagreements over here. I'm not a movie buff, so I'm inclined to believe anything that you say when it comes to Sony. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
This one is out of Discord. I mean, everybody's favorite video game chat app right now. So usurped TeamSpeak. Remember TeamSpeak?
I remember TeamSpeak.
And what's the other one? Ventrilo.
Never had that one.
Never used Ventrilo. Yeah. So it is kicked those to the curb. So they have expanded their verified server program. Right now, the verified server program includes game developers, publishers, so they can interact with their community. They are now expanding it to esport leagues, and specific teams. So you're going to be seeing esports teams and leagues with discords, so you can go in and talk to them. And right now, Team Liquid, Cloud9, Echo Fox, Team Envious, and 100 Thieves are some of the early adopters, and also several of the Overwatch League teams also have verified Discord servers. So it's a way to follow your favorite esports team and interact with them, maybe talk to them, and have a conversation. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Anything that gets people closer to the ones that they idolize, because going up to people in person, that's not the jam anymore.
No.
Yeah, meet and greets are damn near a thing of the past. Yeah. So I feel like this is the very next best thing, in my opinion. Yeah, especially if you're using it as an outlet for you as an influencer to talk to your fan base. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I agree.
Yeah. Reaching out to esports leagues and esports teams is definitely an awesome thing to do. So I'm glad that Discord went along with that. Discord is trying to make a move on like the communications market. I just got a freaking ad or something, or like a not a promo, but when you update, it gives you like what the latest news, like a newsletter. Yeah. And they was like, yo, ditch Skype, dog. You could go ahead and uninstall Skype right now. And I was like, damn, they name dropping? All right, shit. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Shouts out to anybody that can take advantage of it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story. We have one more quick hit for you guys.
This one is out of Sledgehammer Games and Activision. The co-founders of Sledgehammer Games are leaving the studio to take executive positions within Activision.
You talking about the names?
Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield. That's the names. Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield are leaving Sledgehammer. If you don't know who Sledgehammer is, they were founded in 2009. They worked on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 with Infinity Ward, and they also produced World War II and Advanced Warfare. Mm-hmm. So they've only been a Call of Duty studio. They've not worked on anything other than Call of Duty. But the two heads are moving into executive positions in Activision. There's no word on exactly what they're going to be doing, but they are no longer Sledgehammer Games. They are now Activision.
Yeah, I mean this company was a subsidiary of Activision, in its inception. Yeah, so
they founded the studio and Activision brought it like within weeks or months.
Yeah, so I don't know that anything out of the scope of what they've been doing is going to change. I don't think that Sledgehammer Games is going to be let loose to make anything other than the Call of Duty games, in sequence with the other studios that are doing it. It would be my surprise if that did happen, but until we get more word, especially on like who's going to be replacing those executives over at Sledgehammer, I don't think this is going to be much more to talk about. There's not much more to talk about when it comes to this. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine Sledgehammer is in any trouble because they just did the last game, World War II, and it's it's gotten rave reviews. People seem to like it, love it.
I mean, it's just better. It's better than Advanced Warfare. So you know they set the bar really low with the last game in the series, so they didn't have too much of a hill to climb in order to please the fan base.
I will say this again. I played that game. It wasn't a bad game. The complaint was people don't like feature war. They like stuff that they're used to. They don't like the science fiction in their Call of Duty, apparently.
Yeah, people they want modern warfare. They want the same thing they've been having over and over again. And you know, the funny thing is they've been giving it to you guys. You've been getting the same game for 10 years. But yeah, we'll see if anything else happens out of there. You know, maybe there's some underlying story there. Right. But you know, CEO or CEOs of Sledgehammer just moving into permanent positions at Activision. That just seems like, you know, the natural progression. You know, like, oh, this guy got a freaking promotion.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, like I said, considering what they did with their last game, I don't see the studio as a whole in any trouble.
Right. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah. So don't expect to hear anything about layoffs or anything like that. But you never know. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on from that. That was our quick hits. If you want to submit any stories to us, we are now opening up our Discord for a weekly gaming news show content. If you guys want to submit stories, you know, if you have Discord, you want to, the link will be in the show notes and in the description, where you can post any stories that you would like for us to talk about. Most of which will probably end up in the quick hits. If they're not already done, if we haven't already done so ourselves. So you gotta be quick if you want to add stories, because Boogie is up on it. So I'll leave a link down in the description if you guys want to join us on our Discord server and, you know, just talk about gaming news. It's just one of those other ways that you guys can reach out to us. But with that said, let's go ahead and move into the next segment. That's going to be our top 5 news stories for this week. But before we jump into that, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, the New Challenger Discord. So let's go ahead and do that. Bring up my little picture here. Bam! Okay, so if you want to get good at your favorite fighting game, including Street Fighter V, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, not really though, Injustice 2, Tekken 7, and the highly regarded Marvel vs. Not Marvel, but Dragon Ball Fighters, which is going to be seeing some patches to get that freaking, that online working the way it needs to be, which is very much needed. Head on over to newchallenger.gg, join the Discord, and let them know that True Sonic sent you. You can get the perfect amount of a foundation to accelerate your fighting game abilities. This is where you want to go if you're starting out from scratch. The New Challenger Discord is full of fighting game enthusiasts and people that are starting from the ground up just like you. So newchallenger.gg, shout out to Mr. Vinegar, who is the founder of the Discord server, and also a big shout out to Mount Lover, who's not only a commentator for the Dragon Ball Z tournaments, but he is a mod for the Discord server. He's also a coach as well. You can get coaching, and they have fight nights and tournaments. They have all types of stuff there for you. So newchallenger.gg, and make sure you check them out on Twitch as well, New Challenger TV, because they do have weekly content that they post there, like the beginner breakdown and Mount's Dojo, where Mount Lover goes into detail on how to train somebody up from the ground up. So it's a pretty cool thing that they have going on over there. But yes, thanks to those guys for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate it. All right, so let's get into the top 5 news stories for this week, and we're starting off with my favorite. I love this story. It is the games for gold for Xbox Live for March 2018. So let's go ahead and jump into that. First up, we have, and what do we have? Can I see it? Bam! We have Trials Blood Dragon for the Xbox One. If you don't know what this game is and you've never played Trials before, it's kind of like this little motocross. Like how would you even describe that game?
It's a trick game. It's a motocross trick game. You get a bike, you run through tracks, and there are tricks. You got to do jumps, flips, such and such, and so on and so forth. And with this the Trials of the Blood Dragon, it basically adds, the Blood Dragon is a spinoff of a Far Cry,
Right.
so it adds like some Far Cry characters, and it adds some other type of obstacles like attack helicopters and stuff that's trying to prevent you from completing the trick. But it's basically a on rails trick. You ride down the hill. It's 2D side scroller. It's fun if you like that type of thing. If you play Trials or Trials Fusion, it's basically the same thing with a Far Cry type vibe to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's really cool is if you've ever played any of the other Trials games, and I don't know if this is a thing on those games, but they actually have some like on foot sections, which is really fun as well.
Yeah. I don't think. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't think
in Trials there's no foot on foot sections at all. So that's unique to this Blood Dragon version game.
Yeah. So it's a pretty cool game. I've played it before. So yeah, if you looking for like a cool like little like OG Xbox Live arcade style video game, that one's for you. What do we have next? What's the next one?
We've got Super Hot, and if you don't know what Super Hot is, you've probably been living under a rock. If you're a gamer and you don't know what Super Hot is, come from under the rock, because Super Hot is actually a game that came out I think last year, or maybe I take that back. It came out the year before. It's basically a stylized pixelated polygonal type shooter, and basically the way it works is time stops when you're moving. So when you're actually moving, that's when the enemies move. But if you don't move, you can actually take out enemies and keep their distance. So it's got an interesting play. This is actually a VR game as well. It's been converted to VR for Sony, for Vive, and for the Oculus. And it is by all accounts one of the best VR games. But it was, before as a VR game, it was just a normal first person shooter type game. So yeah, try it out. I mean, it's supposed to be great. I have it. And I would get it on the Xbox as well, but
I've actually never played it. I've seen tons and tons of footage on it, but I've never played it myself. So this will actually be like a treat for me, because this game looks fun as hell.
Yeah. And then
then we have the 360 games, which are of course backwards compatible and playable on the Xbox One. And these games, I don't know. One of them I'm feeling, the other one I'm not. First up we have is Brave, which is the it's a movie tie-in game for the Disney movie Brave. I don't know why this isn't even an option here. It does not look like a good game. It doesn't look like a game that anybody would want to play. That isn't like a small girl or something.
Yeah, my 7-year-old would want to play.
Yeah, your 7-year-old. But as far as the games for gold, I don't know. I don't know if they were like stressed for titles, but that's really like reaching for the bottom of the barrel in my opinion.
I don't know about that Brave thing either. But the other game, Quantum Conundrum, from everything I've heard, is super fun. It's a platformer. It's an action platformer, I should say. No, I'm sorry. It's not action. It's a puzzle platformer. It is a puzzle platformer, and it's supposed to be super stylized, colorful, and fun to play. And this is right up your alley. If you're a platformer, you love platformers. Apparently this is a better one. One of the better ones that was on the Xbox.
Yeah, I've never played it. I've heard the name before, just Quantum Conundrum is a really hard name to forget. So I've heard of this game. I've never actually played it. So this will probably be something that I pick up. I'm not really into puzzle platformers, but it is something that I can give a try. I mean, I was able to get through Portal pretty easily, so I don't think that this will be too much of an issue. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to read off the dates, because with the Xbox games with gold, they are dated. Trials of the Blood Dragon are available from the 1st through the 31st. Super Hot is available March 16th through April 15th. Brave is the first half of the month, the 1st through the 15th, and Quantum Conundrum is the second half of the month, the 16th through the 31st.
Yeah, so you have until those days to download those games, and once you download them, they're yours. They're yours forever. Even if you get rid of your Xbox Live, even if you delete the game and then you want to just re-download it later, it's still yours. It's on your profile. It's your game.
Where's the
And
keep? Yep.
And if you have, and for the 360 games, if you have those discs, because they become backwards compatible, if you have the discs, you can just pop that disc into your Xbox One and play right away.
Yep.
Well, you have to download it first, but you can play pretty much off the disc, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that is your games for gold for March 2018. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
Okay, so this is out of EA. This is an Electronic Arts story. Another Electronic Arts story, because we talked about Burnout. But EA again is doing their EA Play before E3. They're doing it in Hollywood like they did last year. They're going to have playable this year's version of Battlefield, which is yet to be announced or shown anywhere. So unless they announce it beforehand, this would be your first chance to see what that's all about.
Yeah.
And apparently,
after the success of Battlefield 1, it's like, how do they really expect to top that,
Yeah, where are they going with it this year?
Yeah.
The success of Battlefield 1 and the failure of Battlefront 2. So where do they go from there?
Right. Yeah, they're kind of like in this middle section right now.
Right.
But what's interesting though is what's also going to be playable is Anthem as well.
Yes, Anthem is going to be there and playable. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so that's probably got a lot of people looking forward to that. But I don't know. It's like, why wouldn't they want to bring this to E3? Like, why do they? We talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot. It's just they want the stage all to themselves. They don't want to share. They don't want to share the spotlight. If they beat everybody to E3, they don't have to share what Nintendo announces for the Switch, which is going to be, whether warranted or not, whatever Nintendo announces for Switch is going to be the talk of the show.
Yeah.
Unless Microsoft and Sony comes with something super surprising, right?
Yeah.
So they just want to show their stuff on their own time, and they want to control the message, right? So that's why they're doing this. It's June 9th through the 11th, 2 to 8 on the Saturday, and then on Sunday and Monday it's 10 to 8.
Yeah, and that's gonna be open to the public as well.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of cool stuff to be shown off. The next Battlefield. A lot of people probably looking forward to that. Anthem, a lot of people are definitely have their eyes on that. But it's like, really, how can EA hope to have a truly successful show with all the controversy that's been going on? Like, I honestly can't see why.
They gotta figure something out. And again, this is probably their best bet, because again, they get to control the message. They don't have to share with E3. They're not going to get buried, because what happens is there's a lot of stuff that comes out of E3, and if something bad happens to you, that's what you're remembered for, because everybody moves on to the next. So EA announced the game with some crappy microtransactions is one story, but then they have 3 other great stories. Everybody's gonna remember that one story and move on to what Nintendo has, and move on to what Ubisoft has, and what Microsoft and what Sony shows. So this allows them to get out before all of that and control the narrative.
Yeah, kind of like shift the perspective that they have right now going on. Yeah. All right, so we'll have to wait and see what's up their sleeves. We'll definitely be covering that once that goes down. And what were those dates again?
June 9th. Oh gosh, June. Close it. It was June 9th to the 11th.
June 9th to the 11th. Okay.
Yeah, June 9th to the 11th.
Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
The next story is
PUBG.
Out of PUBG land. Yeah, we got some PUBG news. It's actually a bit of news. The developer put a developer's blog or log up on Steam, I believe it was. But they just talked about a wide-ranging number of things. One of the things they talked about, which is big news, is a new map is coming.
Yes.
The first half of this year. So I mean, the last map they released was not
well received.
Yeah, people complained about it. They tried to make some fixes to it, but I mean, it got to the point where people were uninstalling that map from their client, so they wouldn't be stuck in there. So they got to come better with the next map that they come out with.
That's gotta hurt, my boy.
Yeah, that's brutal, right?
Yeah, your game is nominated for Game of the Year off of one map, and then you release another one, and everybody hates it.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sends a weird message to me.
Well, I mean, that tends to be people that can't deal with change, that don't want to deal with change. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, the way PUBG works, that map, everybody knows the spots to go to find the most stuff and all of that stuff. You get a new map, you got to learn it all over.
Yeah.
And I think one of the problems with that, I think the map was called Miramar something. I know it was Mexico.
Okay.
One of the things was there wasn't a lot of structures, not enough structures. So you're out in the open, and it just didn't seem people didn't like it. They felt it wasn't as fun as the original map. So
Right.
yeah, there's that. Another thing that came up was, again, the cheetah issue. And we talked about this with Overwatch, and this is not the last time we're going to talk about this, but essentially cheaters are causing delays to normal game development, improvements to the game, and stuff that people actually want, have been asking for in the game, is being delayed because they have to divert resources, time to implement cheat busters.
Right.
So they can stop these people from cheating. We talked about it again a couple of weeks ago, where there was a guy that was using a texture cheat to see people that normally wouldn't be. Basically, was able to see through the map.
Through walls. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they implemented a new feature that blocks third-party apps while that's running with PUBG. And so, I mean, again, when you have a game this popular, obviously it's going to bring cheaters to the mix, and this is what happens. And it can really, especially a game like PUBG, especially when a game like this gets hot real fast, it can also cool down real fast, and that's something they really don't want to happen. So they have to get ahead of this.
Yeah.
So all of you complaining that PUBG's development is slow, stop cheating.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're the ones that are like slowing it down for everybody. Right. Yeah. What else? Because this is a lot more with PUBG.
Yeah, the last thing is the loot crate. They're redoing the loot crate. So the way it worked before is you get a loot crate, and there was a 40% chance that it dropped and I can't remember the name of it, but it'll drop a crate that you actually have to pay real money to get the key to open.
Desperado crate.
Yeah, Desperado crates, right? And you have to buy these keys that use real life money. You gotta have these keys to open that crate, otherwise you cannot open that crate. Right. Now that crate usually popped out some of the more rare items, some of the most rare items, which is kind of cool, but still, people were getting upset because 2 out of 5 crates you had to pay for. You had to pay to.
You had to pay to open them, yeah.
Right. So they've actually adjusted that to make it a 20% drop rate. So it's only 1 out of 5, and they also changed it up. So there's 2 crates now. There's the free crate that you can grind for, which is called the militia crate. And then there's a second crate that you can, if you're you want to buy crates, you can buy these crates. They're called fever crates.
Okay.
And again, you will still be getting the paid crates, but this time it's 1 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 5. So
they're lowering the odds of you actually getting a Desperado crate, right, which will require the purchase of a key, right, and then they're also giving you the
option to buy crates as whenever you want, as often, right, as you want.
Right. And you can also still grind out the other like 80% of the normal crates.
Right. I mean, it's still loot boxes.
Yeah, still terrible.
Yeah, PUBG is.
You have popular streamers that get like hundreds of thousands, if not thousands of dollars every stream, mm-hmm, that have like garbage gear because they're not dropping.
The
money into this game right now.
Right.
Like I literally saw Dr. Disrespect complain about the crates, and he's like, I'm not spending no money on this game right now. I was like, hey, I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make it to a point where people feel like they're getting rewarded, and PUBG crates have been notorious for it. Unrewarded drops. I mean, unrewarded drops. Like, really. I mean, it's to the point where the red bandana still sells for thousands of dollars outside of the game. It's nuts, but
yeah. That is nuts. But
that's it for PUBG.
That's it for PUBG. We're in there and then we're out of there. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story.
Okay, so this is an interesting story, and this one is out of the ESA. Oh well, it's out of the ESA. It's not necessarily out of the ESA, but it's involving ESA.
It involves them. Yeah.
So there's a group that's been that wants to archive games, right, for posterity. They want to keep games alive for the future. And it is one of the groups that's spearheading this is the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment. And what they were asking the Library of Congress. Library of Congress is actually controls the DMCA and a lot of the copyright rules. And every couple of years they amend the rules. And people make requests. And what they were asking was to relax the rule that prevents people from running their own servers if they're going to use it for archival purposes. So basically what this group wants to do is they want to run their own servers so they can archive the game. Basically, they want to set the game up in a museum and let it be playable with their own servers. Mm-hmm. And ESA is like, no, hell no.
Yeah.
and again,
you want to do something we can't monetize? Get the heck out of here.
Pretty much, yeah. And again, if you know what the ESA is, it's backed by most of the big publishers in gaming industry. We talk about Activision, Microsoft, Ubisoft, Tencent, Square Enix, Take-Two. All those guys are behind it. And basically, they specifically said they don't want brand dilution, which I can kind of understand that, right? Because if somebody's running a server and it's a bad server, rife with cheating or anything else is going on that's making the experience bad, the people playing aren't going to say, well, this is a server run by a museum. No, they're going to say, Take-Two, you suck. I'm not buying any of your games. So I can understand that. But if this museum if they're going to fence off their server where you only can access it while you're inside the museum, I don't see where there's a problem with that, right? Yeah. That takes it outside of the public purview. But the second thing, and this is the reason why they said no, is because they specifically said allowing this will limit their ability to monetize their IPs. So basically what they're saying is we're not going to be able to re-release a remastered version of this game 10 years down the road and make money off of it.
Right. Yeah, because they can just go to wherever you have set up and play it there.
But yeah. So, I mean, I understand. I can understand part of the ESA's argument, but if it's a museum and they're locking it off to where nobody outside of the museum can gain access, I don't see what the problem is. The only time I see a problem if it's on a public server that anybody can log into at any time.
Yeah, trying to preserve like an online experience for future generations. That's a very noble cause right there. Right. It's something that I would never even have thought of even attempting to do. So the fact that they actually went out of their way to go out by the proper channels, because there's plenty of servers that are up playing games that have ceased online production and illegally. These guys wanted to go by the proper channels. So I mean you could see where their passion is when they come forth with something like this, and you can also see where the ESA's priorities are when one of the main concerns is that they cannot they can't make money off of it. They can't monetize it. Like brand dilution, I can understand that to an extent, but if this is something solely for the preservation of art, I don't see why that's a problem.
No, I agree. I think it's a bit of a reach for them to say it's for them to say that it's going to dilute their brand and it's going to cause monetization issues. Yeah. If it's very restricted. Like I said, servers aren't open to public. It shouldn't be causing you any problem.
No. I mean, this is basically just preserving the technology of that age. This is how this functioned. We've since learned from that. I could see the practicality in preserving something like that. But this is where the ESA's mindset is at right now. Along with the fact, their alternative fact that that freaking loot boxes is in no way, shape, or form gambling. Right. So this is just where they are mentally, and it's a shame because back in the day, when we were growing up and playing Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, this stuff blew our minds, and it was so pure on the surface. Video games used to seem so pure and innocent on the surface, and now it's just riddled with so much drama, and there's so many issues with monies and lawsuits and copyrights and all types of madness,
garbage.
just garbage that doesn't need to be in such a pure art form. Like video games are supposed to be fun.
Right. Yeah. And that I will always blame. I will keep blaming just the consolidation of the industry. When EA and Activision and Ubisoft and they became so big, they started buying up all of the small developers and putting all these small publishers out of business. When you get that this is what happens. It's the same. It's along the same lines as wireless service. When you have just Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile. I mean, prices are. I mean, there's a little bit of competition, but at the end of the day, there is some collusion between them to keep prices to where they want, and it's the same thing with the gaming. They set up where, like, look, we control this, and this is how it's going to work, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, so
no more fun times for us, apparently.
Yeah.
But so we have one more story in the top 5, and this is dealing with the D.I.C.E awards that just went down. Yep. So Boogie, why don't you go ahead and take it?
So they announced the 21st annual D.I.C.E awards.
Yeah.
And Nintendo came out like fat cats.
Yeah.
Nintendo took home 10 awards, with 4 of them going to Zelda Breath of the Wild. That is a huge haul. And listen, everybody, you all know, if you've been watching, I'm not a big Nintendo fan, but I'm going to call bullshit here. I'm going. I really am. And it feels to me when I look through the list, and the show was like almost 2 hour and 40 minutes.
Okay.
I watched some of it. It's up on YouTube. But it just seems to me that this award show kind of pandered to Nintendo, and let me tell you why. So, Game of the Year is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I haven't played it.
No.
From everything I've heard, it sounds like it probably deserves it and should be in a running. I don't care about that. The outstanding achievement in game direction and game design also went to Legend of Zelda. Okay, Game of the Year. I can go with that.
Hand
that
in hand,
sense.
pretty much.
Right. But then I start looking at some of the other stuff, and this is where I feel that the D.I.C.E awards lost all credibility. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as the racing game of the year? Are you shitting me? It's a 2-year-old game that was ported from the Nintendo Wii that didn't do anything new or innovative. It's just the same old crap.
And they sold it at full price.
Yeah.
$60.
It beat out like real racing. It beat out Dirt 4, Horizon, Forza 7.
Yeah.
No, not Horizon. Just Forza 7.
Oh, yeah.
Gran Turismo Sport. Project Cars 2. Project Cars 2. That dynamic weather is freaking amazing. That's an innovation. Mario Kart didn't do anything to warrant that award, in my opinion. Listen. Let's continue on to some of the other winners.
Family Game of the Year, Snipper Clips. What the hell is a Snipper Clips?
Actually, Snipper Clips is kind of cool. It's like a puzzle game. You
yeah,
use
Family Game of the Year? Isn't Snipper Clips on the DS?
No, it's on the Switch.
Okay, I was about to. Oh no! Oh yeah, that stupid game. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's on the Switch. It's not bad.
What the heck is considered a family game? That's just like a puzzle game.
Yeah. Again, pandering. That's the pandering right there. Because I agree with what you just said. Is that necessarily a family game? Kids can play it, sure. But is it a family game? That's a stretch.
I don't know.
That's a stretch, but whatever. And then handheld the Game of the Year with Metroid Samus Returns, but I mean, there's not many. I mean, other than the DS, what's the other handheld? The Switch.
PS, or freaking mobile. I guess I don't know.
Well, the mobile, they have their own game, and mobile Game of the Year went to Fire
Emblem Heroes? Yeah,
Fire Emblem Heroes, which I've heard is a pretty good game, but again, pandering, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about
strategy and simulation of the year. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
It's a great game. I love the game. I really did love the game, but it's not better than Halo XCOM 2.
Yeah.
Halo Wars 2 probably. Total War, I bet is not better than that either.
Yeah.
XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, listen, pandering.
I don't know, man.
So, but some of the other winners outside of that, Cuphead got a couple of wins, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cuphead's been darling all year. They got outstanding achievement in animation and art direction. The RPG game of the year was Near Automata.
Yeah.
Automata, however.
Automata, yeah.
Yeah. Achievement in story was Horizon Zero Dawn, which me personally, I would say that was the game of the year. But I haven't played Zelda, and everything I've heard is a great game. So
I haven't played Zelda either, and I'm not gonna play it on the Switch. I'll buy it for its originally intended console, the Wii U. It's a Wii U game. Ported to the Switch and sold to you at full price.
Well, they came out at the same time, though, right? It wasn't on the Wii U first. I mean, they came out at the same time.
Yeah, it was announced on the Wii U first.
Yeah, and it was delayed because
it's delayed. Yeah. We could make a lot more money on the Switch.
Yeah. Achievement in online gameplay went to PUBG. We talked about that. I mean,
and they also won Action Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, it's millions.
It is pretty.
So.
I mean, that 2 minutes where you're actually fighting somebody, the shit's action packed. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
I think this is how I feel about PUBG. It is exhilarating the whole time through because even while you're running, while you're scavenging to find stuff,
you can always get popped.
Listen, you hear a car coming, you're like, oh shit, somebody's coming, I gotta hide because all I have is a machete.
Yeah.
Or you hear a door close while you're in the building, like, oh, somebody's downstairs. So that
we gotta get back on there, man.
Yeah, it just has your heart pounding until the end. And if you get that chicken dinner, man, oh my goodness. Yeah. So I can agree with PUBG winning what it's won. I just don't like all and fighting game of the year Injustice 2. I don't know.
I didn't play Injustice 2. I'm not a huge fan of NetherRealms' dial a combo system that they have going on right there, and plus, not really a huge DC fan either.
It went up against ARMS, which. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah, that's a dud.
Nidhogg 2.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah,
but that's a freaking Steam game. Whatever. Get the hell out of here.
And then Tekken 7.
Tekken 7's a pretty legit game. I think that should have probably won.
I think between those two, I mean, it wasn't much competition to be quite honest, if you look at what was there. So, then what? Adventure Game of the Year. That's something else I wanted to talk about. What won Adventure Game of the Year? Because I think it should have been, where is it?
Adventure game?
Yeah, Adventure Game of the Year. I don't see it here.
Adventure Game of the Year, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah. Oh, yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, that was a good one. Horizon Zero
Dawn. I mean, like I said, I just felt like Nintendo... just the pandering, because like everybody's thought the Switch, and Zelda and Mario on the Switch, and just like, okay, let's just give Nintendo all awards because they were down for so long and they did something that was halfway decent. So yeah,
right. It's like the Switch isn't even an all the way good console yet. It still has a lot of missing features that Xbox and PlayStation have been doing for years now.
Yeah, party chat.
Yeah, party chat. The ability to watch Netflix.
Game sharing.
YouTube. A browser on your console.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's incomplete. And to be quite honest, the game lineup is essentially Zelda, Mario,
Splatoon.
Mario Rabbids, Splatoon, and...
That's it, man.
Yeah.
And a bunch of mediocre to subpar ports of previously released games. Yeah, so I don't know.
I just like I said,
I have a Switch and I still don't see where the appeal is. Like it's sitting here. I haven't touched it. I haven't even beaten Mario freaking what's it called?
Mario Odyssey.
I haven't even beaten it yet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, and I'm thinking about getting the Bayonetta, but
Bayonetta 3 is gonna be legit. Like I'm not gonna lie there.
No, I'm talking about 1 and 2 because I've never. I
already have 1 and 2.
Yeah, I don't have either. I played 1, and I remember I played 1 on a demo setup somewhere.
I have 1
it was set up on demo display, and I played. That's the only time I played it, and that was kind of cool. And that was a Wii. That wasn't like a Wii exclusive.
No, Bayonetta 1 was on Xbox 360, PS3. That's it.
Yeah, I never.
Bayonetta 2 was a Switch, a Wii U exclusive, but it came with Bayonetta 1. So I have 2 copies of Bayonetta 1, and I have Bayonetta 2 on
Yes,
the
I don't
Wii
have
U.
any of it. And when I did play it, I was like, yeah, this is something I might like. So if something from again, that's a game that's good for the Switch. It's no online. It's a straight single player game. I can pick up the Switch and walk around or sit down or go to the shitter and play it and play it and so it's something I might think about. And I'm glad it's third party because that will actually go on sale,
Yeah.
unlike any of Nintendo's first party crap. Because Nintendo,
I mean, but it is an exclusive though. It's third party. It is a Sega title, quote unquote. But
right,
but Nintendo is primarily funding this game from what I believe. The same situation that they had with Bayonetta 2, where Sega didn't really want to put up the money, but at the same time they own the franchise. So it's like, hey, find somebody that'll fund you, and then we'll allow it to happen. So that seems to be the deal that's going on between Sega, Platinum Studios, and Nintendo right now. That Nintendo wants an exclusive. Bayonetta she's a bona fide Nintendo Sega like character. I mean, she's in Smash Brothers.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully it goes on sale. If not, but eventually I will get it. I'm
getting that. That's a purchase for me.
I'll probably go on a trip somewhere, and it'd be nice to be able to play it on the plane or something like that. So
yeah, I agree with that. So if you want to see the full list, because we didn't mention every single award, if you want to see the full list of all of the award categories, the link will be in the show notes on our Facebook page, so you can check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll have a link to that as well. But that was our top 5 news stories for this week. Let us know what you thought about any of the stories that we talked about during this segment, or any of the stories that we've talked about in general. We don't pride ourselves in being like the first to report news or anything like that. What we try to do here on this podcast is just put the word out there and then give our opinion on it. And now it's up to you. We're putting the ball back in your guys' corner. What do you guys think? Let us know what you think. If you disagree or if you agree with us, we definitely want to know what's on your guys' mind. But now we're going to move on to the next segment of the podcast, and that is This Week in Loot Boxes. Ever since the infamous Battlefront 2 debacle, this has been a reoccurring segment on the show where we basically showcase the different news stories that are specifically tailored towards loot boxes and the ongoing issue around whether or not it's considered gambling. So we have a story this week. Boogie, why don't you go ahead and take us there?
Okay, so Riot Games, the developer behind Super Smash hit League of Legends, and esports mainstay, has posted on their site, on their support site, the odds in their loot boxes, what they call them, hex tech chests. Mm-hmm. So if you go over to their support page, they have a list of percentages of stuff you can get. Like skin shard is 50% chance, champion shard 25% chance, permanent emote 10%. Bonus drops, gemstones are 3.6% chance. Summoner icon and orange essence 3.5%. I mean, so they have a full list of the items that come in these boxes and the odds of you getting that particular item. They're not the first to do it. They definitely won't be the last. And I think, and I talked about this before the show. I think this is them trying to preempt the regulations because we talked about this. I think it was last week's show, right? The Hawaiian state legislative,
Chris Lee.
Yeah, they put two bills to vote. And basically, one of them specifically had this in mind. They specifically said that these games will have to list odds. So this is like a preemptive strike, and it's something that we're going to probably be seeing a lot of because at the end of the day, these loot boxes are making these companies millions. Billions. Because Ubisoft, when they released their earnings, they said they had something. I want to say it was like something like $4 billion worth of microtransactions.
Yeah, I think it was like over 30% of their overall like revenue.
Right, in microtransactions. So, it's definitely a thing, and they don't want to lose that money. They definitely don't want regulators in it because once regulation, because when you get laws, when you get the government involved, they go super heavy-handed.
Oh yeah,
super heavy-handed.
Yeah, and we mentioned that when we.
And it's hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and it's hard to walk that stuff back.
Yeah, we mentioned how when we were going over the two bills and we discussed those last week, we went over how it at first glance it seems almost like like this isn't like overreaching. It doesn't seem overreaching, but you never know, man. When it comes to these legislators, you never know
Mm-hmm.
because everybody wants to get their pockets lined. That money's gonna have to go somewhere.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
so you never know. You can everybody wants for the gaming industry to be able to regulate itself. But if it can't, somebody's gonna come in and do it for them.
Right,
And
exactly.
those people are going to need to get paid.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is definitely going to be something we're seeing a lot of. I can imagine there's going to be something out there. And again,
Yeah,
in China,
and League is like what #1 in the MOBA scene,
mhm,
and this as a free to play game, as #1 in the free to play MOBA like scene, putting its odds out there like that. Everybody else should just go ahead and just follow suit. I
yep,
think.
yeah. And again, this is something that's legally required in China. If you have a
Yeah.
game with loot boxes in China, you have to do this. So, and this is not too difficult for them to do. So, I mean, it makes sense for you just to get ahead and put it out there for everybody to see.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is only a small step in the multitude of changes that needs to happen with loot boxes. I mean, this is good, but I don't really think, and especially when it's not like placid, like in your face, like
Mhm.
in game, because it's not in game. You have to go to the website.
Right.
But until we get like the odds like plastered like in game, like
In-game.
you have a 3% chance that you're gonna get what you're looking for. I don't really think that this is gonna deter anybody from spending
Right. People
money
are
that
not
they
gonna-
don't really have.
Most people aren't going to go to the website to look.
No, not at all. So yeah, this is a step. It's a very small step, almost a half step in the right direction. I would say.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that's this week in loot boxes. Any loot box related stories that you guys would like us to talk about, as always, you can reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. You can leave comments in the comment section below, and you can also hit us up in our Discord server. The links to all of those will be in our show notes on our Facebook page, so you can check those out. Leave us any stories, because there was actually a lot of loot box related stories that we could have talked about. There was a couple more that came out, especially with the newly released Metal Gear Solid Survive.
Oh God.
Yeah, so we could have talked about that. But all that, I'll leave all that up to you guys. So any additional stories that you would like for us to cover, just to get our opinions on them. They don't have to be anything like super recent. I mean, this is a weekly gaming news show, but we will go out of our way to answer any questions to any other gaming related stories if that's what you guys want to hear. So leave us questions, leave us suggestions for stories, and because if you guys want our opinion, that's what we're here to give you. So let's go ahead and move on to the long form discussion. And full disclaimer, we're going to be talking about some pretty sensitive topics here. We don't normally get too political on this show, and we're going to try our best not to. But this story, it needs to be talked about. It needs to be talked about. So full disclosure, don't want to offend anybody or anything like that. But we're going to dive into primarily what happened in or the aftermath of what happened in Florida during with the school shooting and all that. During the aftermath of the school shooting, there were politicians and there were these people on national news networks going around talking about how in 2018 video games are
to blame.
To blame for the violence that occurred there. And apparently the shooter, who won't be named or anything like that, but apparently he was a big fan of Call of Duty, and people are using that fact to propagate this image that video games cause real life violence in the real world. And so we're gonna jump into that discussion.
I mean, there's been studies after study after study that has debunked this. I mean, the day either the day of or the day after, I think it was the governor of Kentucky came out, was like, yeah, it's the video games. And now up in Rhode Island, there's state legislator that wants to tax violent video games or M-rated games. Uh, this is a red herring.
Yeah.
Oh, it drives me mad because what they're doing is deflecting what the real problem is.
What the real problem is, yeah.
There's two problems. One, easy access to military grade assault weapons. I know.
That's one. You
right.
You said there's two, but that's the really only one that matters.
Number one. No, well, the second problem is misdiagnosed mental issues.
Oh well, yeah. Of course.
It's our poor healthcare center. Our poor healthcare system doesn't diagnose and help the people that needs the help they really want.
Yeah.
They need. They don't help the people that really need it. This guy needed help. He had his parents died.
Yep.
He's also in a broken home. He was a loner. Like he broke up with his girlfriend, and like one of his friends started. Apparently, that was the switch that set him off. He had a mental issue, and that needed to be addressed. And we don't address it because our healthcare is horrible.
Our healthcare is horrible, and the people need their guns. You know,
right? And I swear I was just watching a clip off of a CNN where it was like this NRA bastard or this NRA member. He's like, "Oh, it's not the guns. You can't take away right." Listen. You're a hunter, and you need a rifle. You don't need a goddamn AR-15 to hunt a deer. No. I'm sorry. There's nothing on this planet that's going to tell me you need an AR semi-automatic rifle to hunt a deer. And beyond that, video games is an issue. What about the six-year-old dude that shot all those people in Las Vegas? I bet you he wasn't playing Call of Duty.
No.
I mean, give me a goddamn break with this nonsense. It drives me mad that it's everything except for the easy access to guns. It's everything except for the lax background checks for people to buy a gun. It's everything except for the ability to buy, for a person to go and buy 1,000 rounds of
ammo,
rifle ammunition. Those are the problems. Games have nothing to do with it because people have been violent before video games. They were violent before movies. They were violent before radio shows. They were violent before TV.
Yeah. So I don't really understand why, a video game would just instantly, make you want to do that in person. Like I've been playing video games my entire life, and I've never once thought that, I would even ever shoot a gun.
Exactly. One plus one doesn't equal two here. It just doesn't. And again, there's been studies that's debunked this time and time again.
Countless times, yeah.
But we also know the current people in power right now, they don't believe the truth. They only see what they want to see.
They see them dollar signs from the NRA. That's what they see.
And that's horrible. It's disgusting.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's horrible, and I hate to see it.
And this is even the worst part, because some of those same people that will get on TV and claim that video games are so evil, so bad, they'll have stakes in some of these high end esports events or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The same kind of rich executives will both back the NRA and have stakes in esports.
Right. And it's the people that are backing NRA, because to be quite honest, people with common sense, they already know. I mean, there's been a bunch of companies that's already pulled out of NRA funding, right. Sponsorships and partnerships and stuff like that. It's what, NRA, beat it.
Right.
There's no reason. And you're like, oh, you can't ban assault rifles. The dude specifically said, well, if you ban assault rifles, people that use a rifle to shoot a deer are going to be no. An assault rifle is wholly different than a goddamn 22 slot rifle. It's different. I mean, an AR-15 and a 22 hunting rifle are completely different. And to ban guns like AR-15s aren't going to ban somebody's long barrel rifles when they're going to shoot, that they use to hunt deer or rabbit or whatever else they're hunting. So please. And please stop equating video game violence. I mean, media violence is not the problem. I mean, it's not the problem. People are the problem. People are going to be violent. People have been violent since the dawn of time. That's why we have wars. That's why we have military, because people are violent.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
And you know, I don't think that anything that was written in the days of our founding founders, and when it deals with guns, has any merit as to, you know, what's currently going on right now. You know, like, guns have changed over the years. Warfare has changed. I feel like the laws should too.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about the Second Amendment. So part of the reason that we had the Second Amendment, they put the rights to bear arms in the Second Amendment, because at the time there was no federal army, right? And what people, and this is from the Southerners, what people were worried about was slavery revolts. They didn't want uprising. They wanted to be able to control their slaves. So they wanted to have state militias, and to have a state militia, you had to have the ability to have weapons, and that's where it started from. So if you look at where it started from and to what it is now, there's 100% no reason for us. People say, well, we want to be able to protect ourselves from tyrannical government. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You know, tyrannical government, my ass. That's nonsense. So
but yeah, go ahead. My bad.
I said, when you look at that, in today's day and age, the Second Amendment is wholly antiquated and unnecessary. And again, in our culture today, there's no way for us to get rid of guns. It's just there, but there's a better way to go about it, and it's a better way to go about it than blaming video games, because you can ban, you can tax, you can censor all the goddamn video games you want. It's not going to change the fact that some mentally unstable person is going to be able to go to their local gun shop, buy a rifle and 1,000 rounds of ammunition,
same day,
and post up on the clock tower and shoot into a crowd at a concert. It's just, that's not doing anything with video games. Is not going to change that.
Yeah, video games is not going to change that at all. I don't know.
And like I said, I mean, leading up to this, I think we talked about this Wednesday or Thursday. We talked about this. So I must have read about a dozen articles and about 5 or 6 full studies, and none of them. I mean, there was one study that was done by, like, basically somebody that was out to. I mean, it was a small study. It couldn't be properly published because I think they only used something like 10 or 15 people. And, you know, their conclusion was, it can. No, what they said is it desensitized people to violence, but it didn't make them
inherently violent.
Yeah, it didn't make them inherently violent. It didn't change their tendencies towards violence. It may have desensitized them a bit, but didn't change their tendencies. And I can see that, you know, but you can say the same thing about R-rated movies.
About movies, about TV. I remember when you couldn't say ass or bitch on TV, and now you saying whatever the heck you want on TV.
They're dropping the F-bomb on cable stations now.
Yeah, they don't give a damn anymore. And then you got people on YouTube hanging people, showing dead bodies in the freaking forest in Japan. So it's like what really is desensitizing the masses? It's solely not video games.
It's definitely not. I mean, you can, if you want to blame media for desensitization, sure, I can kind of agree with that. But we're
gonna need some very, very drastic changes as to, you know, what is considered you know, suitable for people, and it's not gonna just be video games if you're gonna go with that route.
Exactly. My point exactly. So, old white people that's trying to protect your campaign contributions, stop lying. You know what? The thing is, you're not lying to us, the people. We know.
Yeah.
We know the truth.
The information's out there.
Yeah. Stop lying to yourselves and do something that's right. I mean,
man, I don't remember the politician's name, but this guy was like all the way against like gay marriage and gay rights or whatever. Turns out he was in the closet, got caught up. And I was just like, are you kidding me? I will never trust somebody that calls himself a politician after hearing something like that.
The funniest thing is, and the people that are most vocal against stuff like that are probably the ones that are most likely to be partaken,
Yeah.
or in whatever it is they're screaming their heads off about.
Right.
So
It's just
yeah,
it's madness, because not only are you perpetuating this idea that this is what you believe in, but you are actively seeking followers. You want people to be on board with what you're saying, and you don't even believe in it yourself.
exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy. So I don't think this is going to be an issue that is going to stand the test of time. It's gonna take something. It's gonna. I don't know what it's gonna take to get it changed to our gun laws.
It's so bad. Like in the state legislature in Florida, so like the week after, no, it was this past week. So this happened like Thursday, the 14th, right?
Okay.
So not even a week. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. Florida state legislators were voting on some issues, and they voted to.
Oh yeah.
They voted to.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're about to say.
They voted to.
Okay.
Porn, and they wouldn't even take up. They wouldn't even consider talking about gun control at all. They wouldn't even consider it. It's like, nope, we're not talking about the guns. We're not talking about the guns, but porn is bad.
Yeah.
What?
Porn is bad, but
he just fucked a bunch of people to death. He shot them. He
Right.
shot them. Talk about the guns.
Yeah, and they had some of the students were actually there.
Yeah, and
they wouldn't even hear the argument, but wanted to talk about how bad pornography was.
It's nonsense. I mean, get out of here. I mean, even that's a red herring, because
and it's like the week after the shooting, and you don't want to hear about
NRA
our gun laws.
And the thing is, NRA goes and tells them, like, look, these are your talking points. Don't talk about this, that, or this. It's
all about that money, man.
You know that the NRA, there's a big NRA headquarters right here on 66, right? In Virginia.
I didn't know that. Nah.
Yeah, this one, right? It's right off of 66.
I didn't even know.
66 West is like, what is that mall? It's like right past that mall out there.
Is that Fair Oaks?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, Fair Oaks. It's just right past Fair Oaks, yep.
Yeah. Hey. But hey, that's the world we live in, man. But they definitely can't blame video games, and we definitely want to know, as fellow gamers, we want to know what you guys think about this particular issue, because it isn't the first time that video games have been blamed for the way that people act, or the the accessibility to certain things, and it's definitely not going to be the last. But this is all the more reason I think the game industry needs to regulate itself, because when you bring in people that will sell you an idea that they don't believe in, there's always room for that level of deceit and corruption. So when it comes with government oversight.
What this is a red herring argument. It's a smokescreen. It's
of course
it's their attempt to change the narrative from gun control to
games are bad.
Yeah, games are bad. Yeah, that's
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, and we have to, as a people, we have to resist that. I mean, like I said, let them lie to themselves. They can lie to themselves all they want. Don't lie to us. You can't lie to us, and we have to let them know that we don't believe their lies by voting them out.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that's going to change.
Right, and you can't vote once every 4 years. You vote every other year. In 2 years, the midterms are coming up in November. Make sure you go and vote.
Yeah, man.
And take a look at these people, these clowns that are talking crazy, that are trying to take your Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty away from you, because that's what they're going to do.
Exactly.
If they're going to keep saying video games cause violence, they're gonna write legislation, and we're going to be Australia up in here. No shooting games.
Nope.
No blood. No decapitation. None of that fun stuff that you might like. All that stuff is gone.
It'll be like the 90s Spider-Man cartoon where all the guns were lasers.
Yeah,
bright colored lasers.
Yeah.
And they always missed.
Yep, exactly.
How many times did Peter Parker get his web slingers or his web shooters shot off?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, but yeah, we definitely want to know what you guys think on this topic. It's one that we debated on bringing up, but I'm glad that we did, because it's a very important topic, and it always will be, because like I said, this isn't going to be the last time that we hear something like this. But yeah, that was our long form discussion. leave your comments down in the comment section below. You know, we gave our opinion. Now we want to hear yours. So let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. That's going to be our final thoughts. And this is the part of the show where we retrace our steps and just give our final 2 cents on each of the stories that we talked about today. I'll go first with the Burnout Paradise HD. I'm not the biggest fan of the change that they made to the Burnout franchise with Paradise, so I definitely will not be getting this one. But I am interested to see whether or not they try to sneakily, you know, implement some kind of microtransactions in there, because it is EA after all. Yeah. I also, if this game, you know, gets a lot of traction, I would like to see Criterion work on another Burnout game. This was the last one in the franchise, so maybe
is Criterion still around. What are
they're making the Need for Speed games now.
Oh, that's it. That's right. Because the EA bought them, right? Because they weren't under EA when they made the first couple of Burnouts.
I don't remember exactly. We'd have to fact check that. But that's what I think about that. The Sonic movie, I'm gonna need to see exactly what the plot is. I mean, it's gonna be for the kids, so I'll probably end up getting one or two of Vanessa's nieces and nephews, and we'll go see it. You know, I'll take them to go see it, quote unquote. But you'll get my full review when the game comes out. Discord expanded their verified servers. I mean, that's always a cool idea. You know, hopefully they use it in a way that's, you know, wholesome and, you know, gets, you know, people more connected to their communities and their fans. The Sledgehammer co-founders, I mean, they got promotions. Like, where can you go except, you know, up? It's like natural progression. I don't see you know, why that's super important unless there was like some kind of scandal, and it doesn't really seem like there was. So not too much more to say on that. The March games for gold, kind of hit and miss on my end. While I am excited to get my hands on super hot games like Brave, did just seem kind of out of place.
I think. Well, yeah, I'll let you finish. I'll just say it on mine.
Yeah, it seemed kind of out of place on that. The EA Play coming out before E3. EA, you know, they got some goddamn explaining to do. They have a lot of explaining to do. They have a lot of good graces that they need to get back on people's good side. I mean, number 5 on the top on the worst, you know, companies in the US doesn't seem to know when to stop talking. I don't know how this is gonna go down. I might watch this just for the cringe, honestly.
That's awesome.
I might just watch for the cringe. And as far as PUBG, definitely need to get some kind of momentum going, because I really don't know how you could be considered game of the year. Number 1, when your game isn't done, and number 2, when your second map is considered garbage. So you know, PUBG, they have a lot of work to do on that game. You know, and I'm not even. Let's not even talk about the freaking console version. Like, that one is still in early release. So they got a lot of work on their hands. Hopefully they can live up to all of this, like, you know, hype that they got behind it. Because, you know, if at the end of the day all you're playing is just a functional mess, somebody's gonna come out with a better mess, and it's gonna knock these guys out of the damn water. I lost your audio for a second, Boog. I think you might hit your mute button.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure we're still there.
No, I had some bodily functions going on.
Also, with the ESA rejecting the DMCA exception request, I mean, it's all about money, man. It's all about money, and if they can't make money, if you're playing their game and they're not making money, that's a bad time for them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And, you know, the DICE Awards, you know, it really feels like Nintendo is just being you know, gift wrapped in all of these 10 out of 10s and all, you know. I don't know. I don't see where the hype is, but there are some Switch games coming out down the line that, you know, may interest me. Maybe I'll see the magic once that happens, but right now the Switch is just there.
Yeah.
I play my Wii U more than I play my Switch. And I don't play my Wii U.
I will say my daughter loves it. I mean, she's becoming a Splatoon 2 pro.
Wow.
She be beasting us on Splatoon. Wow. I'm surprised.
I might have to see your daughter in some Splatoon, man. Why she smash me up, man? All right, so what's your final thoughts, Boogie?
The Burnout Paradise, I'm interested. I might grab it. Again, you know me, I'm a graphics whore. I like that it's enhanced, but I enjoy Burnout Paradise. I used to just run around crashing shit. I like that. I like the fun cars they have. You know, they'll never get any licensed cars because of the damage they do to the cars.
Right.
But yeah, I'm interested in that. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I'm probably going to go watch it. As long as I have my movie pass, as long as they're still in business around there, I can go watch movies. One movie a day, unlimited every month. So I'll use that and go check it out. And I don't know, Neil Patrick Harris is in it. I like Neil Patrick Harris. So
I don't think he's confirmed for the movie.
Oh no, you just said that. Oh god,
I just said that because he's like in all of those
He's
movies. I think he's like in like the Smurfs movies or some crap like that.
Yeah, he was in the Smurfs movie. Yeah. If they cast it well, I will go see it for sure. I just don't have a lot of. I'm just not sure because those live action CG movies usually don't turn out well.
No.
Discord expanding the verified server. I mean, that makes sense. Let the esports and their teams connect directly with the fans. That makes 100% sense. The Sledgehammer one, you know, like you said, it's just a promotion.
Yeah.
The March games with gold. I'm actually interested in all of them except for Brave. I'll probably get Brave, so my daughter will play it. She liked the movie, so she might want to just get on mess around with that for a little while. But other than that, I'm definitely interested in Super High and the Trials Blood Dragon game for sure. EA, like I said, they just want to control the message. It would be great to see Anthem, which was delayed, of course, and remember we talked about that. And I want to see what they got coming up for Battlefield, because to be quite honest, as good and great as everybody said Battlefield was, I wasn't that interested. I don't like World War I because the weapons are too primitive. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I like stuff. Get me into Vietnam and newer, and I'm okay. If you go way back to, like, you know, the gunpowder blast guns and the single shot reload, what do you call it? The slot loaders.
Okay.
I forgot what they call it. Yeah, I'm just not interested in it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've never really been into Battlefield games just because of how, you know, massive the maps were. I'm more of a close quarters kind of guy.
Battlefield 3 was by far my favorite. I mean, I used to do work on that for sure. PUBG news, like I said, my biggest takeaway in PUBG is the cheater stuff. Cheaters, you ruining it for everybody. Not by winning the game by cheating, but by delaying updates and improvements in the game. And please stop.
Yeah.
ESA, like I said, I mean, if they're going to use the servers and lock them out to only people that's in the museum and just hold it for posterity. Come on, really, guys?
Yeah,
really?
they really want to just like stop the preservation of art just for a couple of fucking bucks, man.
Yeah, it's garbage. And the DICE Awards. I mean, you lost a lot of credibility with me. I mean, Breath of the Wild winning Game of the Year and some of the awards. I can agree. I can see that because it's supposedly a great game. But when you tell me that Mario Kart is the best racing game of the year, a 2-year-old game,
and you're like a racing aficionado over here.
Yeah, you just chew rocks with that nonsense. I'm done here. I mean, that's all I really have to say. And like these politicians and blaming video games. I mean, you guys can go to hell.
Yeah. This is just a distraction from the real issues, and I feel like we'll never really get those things resolved ever.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but as unfortunate as that is, we're gonna go ahead and end the show on that note. If you want to see more of us, you can catch us on Twitter. We're at AWGamingNS. We're also on Facebook, a weekly gaming news show. Right now, if you're watching this live, we are on Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, and Facebook all at the same time. We're multi-streaming using the Restream.io service. So, you can watch us on your favorite platform. Check us out. Boogie has the weekly gaming news 10 and 10 every Saturday at noon that gives you a short snippet into some of the stories that we'll be covering on the Sunday show. And we go live with the full podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the uploads go live every Monday at 12 noon on everywhere else. And if you want to listen to us on your favorite podcasting app, you're not really into looking people in the face, because I get it. You can listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. Boogie, why don't you give them more information on that?
Okay, so we are in the general podcasting directory. So whatever podcatcher you're using, you can search us, look under A Weekly Gaming News Show, or our call letters AWGNS. We're also on iTunes. We're on Google Play, and we are in TuneIn Radio. The significance of being in TuneIn Radio, if you have a smart speaker, if you have a Google Home or Amazon Echo, you can use the wake word and say, listen to A Weekly Gaming News Show on TuneIn, and it will play the latest episode for you.
Yes. And as always, all of our sources are listed on our Facebook page, so definitely reach out to us on Facebook as well. And anything that we missed, you could definitely, we are not too good to be corrected. Nope. And we'll definitely shout you out if you can find something that we were wrong on. So the only thing else I have to say is make sure that you guys get your questions in early for the Q&A section, because we like to try and incorporate our live audience. We do have, some people watching us live, and we want to incorporate you as much as possible. So, after this show goes off, you can use the hashtag AskAWGNS on Twitter. We track the hashtag, so if there's any questions gaming related that you want to ask us, or even pop culture related, like who's your favorite Marvel superhero? Nightcrawler. If you have it. Gambit's dope too. He's a close second. But any questions like that you want to ask us, just reach out to us. We're trying to grow the channel. We're trying to make this into something bigger than what it currently is. We do this for you because if we didn't have this show, we would just be talking like this anyway. We would have these conversations. They just wouldn't be recorded and posted all over the internet. So we want to make this a better show for you guys. So help us do that by giving us some suggestions. And I think that's enough rambling for now, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. This has been A Weekly Gaming News Show, episode 89, and we are your hosts with the most. My name is Trenell.
I'm Todd.
And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.